All right, we should be live. This is very exciting. We're in the weird part of YouTube now, the intuitive part of YouTube. Welcome, everybody. This is very exciting. Day one of the Intuitive Writing Challenge. Thanks for being here. My name is Sarah Elovich. I am a story coach, a storyteller, a performer, and I've been watching YouTube forever and just started putting some content up and thought I would try to stream you all a workshop. I love teaching about writing and supporting other people's creative processes, and I love running workshops and talking about words, talking about writing. So I thought I would try this as a format, do a little free workshop this week all about intuitive writing, some of my favorite writing practices to get me tuned into the material that really matters, the stories that really matter, because those are the stories that I like to tell. And I think now more than ever, going through what we've all globally been going through, the stories that we have to tell can keep each other alive. It can keep us alive. The stories that we have to tell can be the light in somebody else's storm. The lessons that keep us going, that keep us steady. And I know that's what stories do for me. And that's why I love doing storytelling and helping others tell the stories that really matter. So I'm here for folks who are writers, for people who are returning to writing, welcome. For people who don't consider themselves to be writers, or they've always wanted to write or find a story to write or find something important to say, to find out what their voice is, their writer voice. I'm here for you. And I hope you find something fun, interesting, challenging, intriguing, curious, weird on our way to deepen our writing practice, knowing ourselves as creators. So I'm just going to jump right in and let you know about today, the first day here, Intuitive Writing Challenge. It's a 4-day free writing challenge happening right here on YouTube every day, 1 p.m. Pacific. And if you can't make it live, you can watch the replay. Just make sure to sign up for the Intuitive Writing Challenge. The link is below so that you can get the daily reminders and the downloads, and also the daily writing assignments. We're having little assignment challenges for these 4 days. And folks who complete those writing assignments have a chance to win something. I'm doing a giveaway of my Rewrite Yourself in 30 Days daily writing journal. So I'll send one lucky person who does all the writing assignments. They're pretty easy, so hope you stick around for some of that. So, Intuitive Writing Challenge. What is intuition? We might as well start with some words. If you know me, if you've ever done a workshop with me before, if you've ever done any of my writing circles or workshops, you know that I'm a real nerd for the words. I've got Webster's Encyclopedic Dictionary here. Intuition, from the Latin intuitus. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce Latin correctly. To look upon, to contemplate. Intuition, the act by which the mind perceives the agreement or disagreement of two ideas, or the truth of things immediately and without reasoning and deduction. A truth discerned by the mind directly and necessarily as so, a truth that cannot be acquired by, but is assumed in experience. Intuition. And I love etymology to find out the roots of these words. And where they all come from, and other words that they're related to. Intuition. The tuition part. We talk about tuition as if that's what it costs to go to college or go to school, but actually tuition, what we say, is just short for tuition fees. The tuition part has to do with the instruction, the education. And I will not be able to pronounce Old French, tuition, guardianship, from the Latin root tuitionem, a looking after, a caring for, watching over, protection, coming from the stem tutor, the action or business of teaching. So tuition. Well, where are we looking for this guardianship? To whom do we look for our education? Are we looking out there? Books, teachers, systems, the news, someone on YouTube? Where are we getting our tutelage from? This physical world and our five senses, where we can really prove, factually see, or can we look somewhere else for protection, guidance, guardianship, intuition, whether it's Sanskrit, antara, Greek, endon, Latin, intra, or the Old English, inna. They all agree. It's in, interior, within, inside. It even vibrates. Intuition. The guidance from within. That's the kind of writing that we're going to be experimenting with during this challenge this week. The guidance from within. And what is within? The great paradox. Some say that within every person there is a connection to the great creative force. I'm not here to tell you what your great creative force is. Just to experiment with some writing practices to get you connected to yours. We can't get started on this challenge without taking a moment of gratitude, really, for Julia Cameron, creator of The Artist's Way. And if you have not checked this out, and if you're a writer who's interested in any of the stuff that I've been talking about, or not a writer, just a creator of any kind, a human, I highly recommend The Artist's Way. There's really no way to sum this up. She sums it up. It is a spiritual path to higher creativity. And Julia Cameron, I mean, I must credit her and this work, this book, with introducing me to a way to clear a path to my creative center. Now, in terms of this great paradox, what lies within this great creative force that is going to be intuitioning us through our writing? Here's what Julia Cameron had to say. The heart of creativity is an experience of the mystical union. The heart of the mystical union is an experience of creativity. Those who speak in spiritual terms routinely refer to God as the creator, but seldom see creator as the literal term for artist. I am suggesting you take the term creator quite literally. You are seeking to forge a creative alliance, artist to artist, with the great creator. Accepting this concept can greatly expand your creative possibilities. We'll talk more about The Artist's Way in a moment. Here's what Elizabeth Gilbert had to say in another fantastic book about the creative process, Big Magic. In terms of where we're guided from, where are we guided from this this inner guidance. She writes, sometimes when I'm in the midst of writing, I feel like I'm suddenly walking on one of those moving sidewalks that you find in a big airport terminal. I still have a long slog to my gait and my baggage is still heavy, but I can feel myself being gently propelled by some exterior force. Something is carrying me along, something powerful and generous. That something is decidedly not me. You may know this feeling. It's the feeling you get when you've made something wonderful or done something wonderful. And when you look back at it later, all you can say is, I don't even know where that came from. You can't repeat it. You can't explain it. But it felt as if you were being guided. These are the kinds of writing experiences that I love to facilitate for myself, for others. So, I love morning pages. But even Julia herself has this to say about morning pages. Morning pages is a stream of consciousness, unedited, first thing in the morning, 3-page, handwritten clearing of the throat. It's one half of the very wonderful tools, 2 tools that Julia Cameron talks about in The Artist's Way. And I love morning pages, but Julia says, these daily meanderings are not meant to be art or even writing. I stress that point to reassure the non-writers working with this book. Writing is simply one of the tools. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind. The morning pages are not the material, not the writing. It's like an exercise before running, a stretch before working out. It's getting ready. Morning pages is getting ready. It's not the actual story writing. In Writing Down the Bones, Natalie Goldberg talks about that exact type of writing as composting. And she fills dozens and dozens of notebooks just full of shit, she calls it. What is that shit? That stuff that we're just getting out of the way. I propose that this daily composting shit, getting it out of the way, morning pages, daily throat clearing writing is clearing away the tuition, the out there stuff that we've learned. It's just the tip of the iceberg of what we know. The things that we hear, touch, taste, smell, we're clearing them away not because they're not important. No, we need all of those details. We need to get good as writers. We need to get good at details, writing them down, describing them. We need to have arguments and shoelaces and heartbreak and bad weather and death and boredom and our new favorite shirt that got stained with macadamia nut ice cream. We need all of those things. We have to do that writing and get it out of the way to recover our connection to what is underneath. And that's what we're going to be doing and talking about this week. Writing from what is underneath. Our intuition. Intuitive writing is what we do with that connection that we recover. So, a prerequisite to all of these intuitive writing practices that I'm going to be talking about today is that kind of composting, getting out of the way writing. And if you're a writer, you already know this and you already probably do this. I did this for years and years and years. I've shared this with my followers. I did at least 5 years worth of just morning page writing. And that was it. That was the only writing that I was doing. I felt pretty alive, but I wasn't able to do any other kind of writing because there was no structure, no track to put myself on. But we know, as writers, to be a good writer, You have to be reading, you have to be writing, and you have to be listening. That's really what we need to be doing as writers at all times. Every day, a practice. Listening deeply, reading curiously, writing, all of that, just to keep that craft alive, keep ourselves nimble. Intuitive writing is really about listening and writing combined, a certain kind of writing and a certain kind of listening. But what is intuitive writing for? Certainly it's not for reporting on the who, what, where, when, and why out there. It's not for recording what we already know, quote unquote, know, in the conscious way. Intuitive writing is for getting all the way down, all the way underneath something to really find out not just how we feel, but what something means. What do we really know in our bones about love, loss, fear, pain, growth, transformation, betrayal, redemption? What do we really want to say about our lives, about life? Quoting Carl Jung is really above my pay grade. Maybe one day we'll have the ability to break that stuff down that he said about intuition. But in a nutshell, Dr. Jung said that intuition is information that's been given, not produced. It's given by the subconscious, which he proposed is connected to that great creative force that we were talking about before. I'm, so again, not here to tell you what your subconscious is connected to. I'm not here to tell you what the knowledge is that you're always connected to. I'm not here to teach you about what kind of golden braid you're weaving or what your ancestors are guiding you towards. That's what you're going to find out for yourself. So, what is intuitive writing? There was a download today. If you got it, you can open it up, pull it up, and I'll go through examples. I was just on LinkedIn. I was just flabbergasted and responded to an article in the Wall Street Journal about what to do when you're upset at work. You know, is it okay to rant at work? And the whole article was like, well, you should be careful. You should censor yourself if you're going to rant, if you're going to say something negative at work, you know, be careful. And then another angle of the article was like, just don't say anything at all. And it's like, there's an answer, you guys. Write, especially by hand. We're going to talk more about some really great, one specific great bit of research, a whole actual arm of research on writing about difficult things. But ranting, this is actually a way to not just clear away what's happening on the surface, but actually get all the way down underneath into some monstrous power, some monstrous energy that's underneath there that we're afraid to connect to a lot of times. Something that Jung would call the shadow. Rant, vent, get it out. And that's a great intuitive writing practice. What is really going on? What am I really upset about? Okay, other end of the spectrum, gratitude. And this has been very popular for quite some time. Gratitude journals, gratitude writing prompts, but to write ourselves into gratitude, to go deeper and deeper into the experience of gratitude as we're writing, to let the writing carry us deeper and deeper into what we are grateful for, which I need to do more often. This is a difficult one for me, honestly. Even though it's very popular, it's been sometimes difficult for me to only look in that direction unwaveringly. And writing, especially by hand, is an uphill choice. It's hard, it's singular. So focusing so much, I talk so much about writing by hand. It's another completely different topic, but all of these intuitive writing practices are all the more powerful if done by hand. The next intuitive writing practice, the perfect day. What does your perfect day look like? Start from waking up in the morning. What are you seeing, feeling, hearing? What does it feel like, that one perfect day? All the way through, who are you seeing? What are you doing? How are you moving? What are you saying? What are you wearing? Who are you interacting with? In detail. You might be surprised with what is actually the ingredients of your perfect day. Affirmations. This is again, very widely known, very popular. I think sometimes glossed over, dismissed, or maybe even done incorrectly. Affirmations must be written in the present tense. And that can be difficult if I don't have that thing. But writing, not necessarily what it is that I want to have, but how is it that I want to feel? This is overlapping hugely with other practices out there, like law of attraction. And the next intuitive writing practice, very much in that vein, pre-paving. Esther Hicks, famously, there's lots of videos on YouTube. She describes pre-paving as a thought exercise. There is something that I want to achieve. So similar to the perfect day, I'm going to envision that thing that I want to achieve, and I'm on my way towards that thing. But as a writing exercise, there's even more involved. It's more precise than just thinking about it for a few seconds, actually taking the time to write many pages of everything that's happening on the way to that thing that I want to achieve or have happen or see or do. Pre-paving. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. Even actually pre-paving over some of the bumps, difficulties, setbacks, imagining some of those problems happening and solving them. So writing our way through ups and downs. Powerful. Again, all of this is about getting beyond what's quote unquote happening on the surface and going all the way down into the knowledge that has been given, not produced. The next practice, the Unsent Letter, another very popular, very well-known practice. This could be to someone who has passed away. It could be an apology. It could be a confession. It could be anything. What really needs to be said, what you really want to say to this person, what you really need to say to this person. And the act of writing, letting that be telling, talking, communicating, connecting with that person and not sending the letter. We'll come back to that particular, I'm going to make a little mark on that because I want to come back to that on day 3. Okay, what's next? Reframing. I did a video the other day on acceptance, and it was last week's Mindful Mondays, and the talk about this other practice in a moment, but the meditation prompt was acceptance, and then writing my way into acceptance in a reframe. So this writing exercise would be taking something where my viewpoint is clearly I'm not facing in the right direction, and I know that because I'm uncomfortable in some way. I'm feeling not good, and using the writing process to turn myself towards something that feels better. Is there a way to come into acceptance? Is there a way to reframe this? Was that actually a problem that happened? Do I need to take something personally? Or is there a lesson? Can I reframe it? So it doesn't have to be around acceptance necessarily. It could be around looking at a problem, or what I perceive to be as a problem, reframing it as an opportunity. Or looking at fear. We'll be talking about this also tomorrow. Fear, and reframing this as maybe a challenge. Using writing to basically raise consciousness and change the way that we're looking and then thinking about something. So reframing, very powerful. Now the next list, the last bunch that I'm talking about here, these might be less well known to you. Some of the writing practices that I've covered so far, you've probably already heard of, but okay, the self-contract. This would be making a dedication or a promise, a vow. And these are the kinds of words that we want to pick when we're doing a self-contract. I promise, I commit, I vow, and writing what it is. I find it very powerful to also date and sign these self-contracts. What is it that I actually want? This is really very focusing and being careful about what those words are that I'm picking. But be bold when you write a self-contract. Be bold. The writing meditation. You can join tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific. I do writing meditations every Monday night, Mindful Mondays. Again, look at the links below to join in and sign up. It's on Zoom. It's free. And we do a short guided meditation, a short silent meditation of whatever variety you're comfortable with. Then we do a chunk of time. I've found that what works for me, if you're going to try this for yourself, timing-wise, it works for me. Writing meditation is a few minutes of guided meditation, about 5 minutes of silent, and then 20 minutes of silent writing. And keep the pen going. So the idea is that we're going to take the same kind of attitude, posture, the same posture that we achieve in a meditation. We're going to take that posture to the writing, holding it loosely, like I was writing about today in my newsletter, holding it loosely. So I'm going to be sitting with attention, but with the minimal amount of effort that it takes. I'm going to be holding my pen loosely, but with what I need in order to keep my grip on the pen and to allow that pen to move in any wild, surprising way that it might want to move on the page. So we take that meditation perspective and we take it onto the page. So if you've done a walking meditation, it's just like that, only writing instead of walking. And if you've never done meditation before, come tonight to the Mindful Mondays at 8 o'clock. I would love to just walk you through. The next one is expressive writing. We'll talk more about this one tomorrow. Excellent practice. And expressive writing, written about, studied, scientifically replicated the results many times over by many researchers. Expressive writing is taking a often difficult but important thing that happened. It could be anything. I'll be sharing about one of my clients who used expressive writing to get all the way under some very profound events in his life and to be able to make sense of them and communicate them. Survivors of PTSD, or just having a difficult time. Expressive writing is the practice of setting the timer for about 20 minutes. It seems to be the number that we keep coming back to. Writing by hand for 3 or 4 days in a row about this topic. making sure that every night there's a good night's sleep. So what's happening is there are layers and layers and layers of understanding, and there's a peeling away of identification so that metaphor and meaning can come to the surface through the process. It's fascinating. There's several books written about expressive writing. Simple, subtle, sophisticated technique. Highly recommend for folks who are going through something difficult and hard to express in words. And I'll share one of my experiences with that tomorrow. Non-dominant handwriting. Some people may have tried this before. It can be kind of freaky, kind of fun, kind of interesting, holding the pen in your non-dominant hand and seeing what comes through. I wrote a journal prompt book that's all about working with the inner child, going back and forth with dominant hand, non-dominant hand. The non-dominant hand might get in touch with a younger self. It's easy to see why that would work because the non-dominant hand has handwriting that looks like a child. But we're going way down now into some of the depths of the iceberg of the intuition here. So some people will use non-dominant handwriting to contact other connected ways of knowing from maybe other experiences, other lives, one might even say, or other entities potentially. Again, I'm not here to tell you what's down all the way in the depths for you. So non-dominant handwriting, it can be very moving. It can be kind of wild. So I'm here as a guide, and I want to encourage folks to reach out to me if you want some more one-on-one instruction on any of these techniques. But I'm going to try my best to cover what I can this week. So dream journaling, you may have heard of this. Maybe you've even tried it a little bit. But trying it consistently can be very interesting, especially for folks who claim that they don't have dreams. Having a dream journal nearby, jotting those ideas, images, stories, feelings, jotting those things down. Again, Carl Jung, big dream guy. And so we don't have time to talk about all the things that have been done around the knowledge that comes through in dreams. And there are some extremely well-practiced people out there that I can put you in touch with regarding this practice as well. It's not a specialty of mine, just an interest of mine and a place that I like to respect. How can I deepen my listening? Checking here, we're getting to two-way prayer. I will be sharing some really fantastic resources. Two-way prayer is something that I practice every morning, and really fantastic resources out there. This practice came to me because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic, people practicing two-way prayer. It is, as far as I know, originated from the Oxford group, an American spiritual group that really was aiming for each person having their own connection to the divine, and using two-way prayer for guidance, for listening. And it's indispensable for me in my spiritual practice, but it's also a wonderful way for me to remember that writing is key. I can get a hit or a bit of guidance, or even comedians talk about this, something funny strikes them and you've got to write it down, otherwise you'll forget. The weakest ink is stronger than the best memory. Oh, I misquoted that one. But write it down. It's the only way that we're for sure going to remember. I have a special notebook dedicated just to two-way prayer. So you might want to look into that, getting just a special composition book just for your intuitive writing if you're going to follow along this week. And finally, channeling or automatic writing, which is interesting. I've noticed that it's having a resurgence right now. I have had my own experiences with this. They were not necessarily done intentionally, but after a period of time when I was really studying closely my biblical namesake, Sarah, from Abraham and Sarah's story, I found that she was waking me up at 3 a.m. to tell me things and to speak, and or to have me move my pen. And also just a call back to Esther Hicks. Her whole career in communicating wisdom seems to have originated with her automatic writing that started, I believe it was like she found that it was her nose that was kind of moving around in space, and then it was one letter at a time that she was being guided to write. So automatic writing, being guided by a divine wisdom, you say. So very happy. I would be very happy to connect with folks to talk more about those in depth at any time. And but now, gosh, the time flies. Wow, the time really flies. So though that's an overview of the intuitive writing practices, and the challenge is for you to pick one of these to experiment with. And I've got something built in. You can drop by the Mindful Mondays tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific to check out a writing meditation. All of the ones that are on the right-hand side, the ones that are in purple on the worksheet, those might be the scarier ones, the deeper ones, the ones that you haven't tried before, haven't heard of before. I encourage you, in picking an intuitive writing practice, to go for the one that scares you. Go for the one that seems mysterious. Go for the one that makes you feel a little bit nervous. That very well could be something that's been pushed way down that wants to come up for you, through you. So that's your challenge. Write the name of the intuitive writing practice that you're going to try in the comments below this video, and tune in tomorrow. And if you're just joining, you can join the Intuitive Writing Challenge and get updates every day and get a little notification before I go live. Come back here tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'll be here. We're going to talk all about going deeper, the transformational power that's inside of these practices. Oh, I've lost my notes. And what do we do about fear? What is writer's block? What are we going to do about this? How do we handle that as creators? I'm going to talk about my trick to blast through that and go deeper. And I'll share some stories tomorrow. So that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. If you want to come by tonight, I'll see you tonight. Have a great day and write on. Oh, wait, I see people signed up late for the challenge. Where's the download? Oh, you're going to get a recap email. Don't worry. If you're just joining right now, don't worry. You're going to get a recap email. It's going to be great. You'll be able to, get everything that you need. Great to see you, Nicola. Hello. Great. And this is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And write on.